This is the 7-seat Tesla Model X and Tesla's latest offering. It does amazing things like this. The Falcon Wing doors may take some getting used to, but they do look spectacular. However you look at this car, whether from the back, the front, from above, or even from underneath, it's undeniably an extremely well-styled car. The weight and size of this car means it needs these 20-inch rims. But this means that optimistic driving on country roads is absolutely no problem for this 2.5-ton SUV. Access to the rear seats is easy with the Falcon Wing doors. A couple of seconds and you're in. The seats then cleverly realign themselves. If you're not using the rear seats, you can fold them down to increase boot space from pretty small to a really good size. In 10 seconds, you've got this space. And apparently, the frunk is bigger too. As an experiment, we managed to fit 9 passengers into this car, but it quite comfortably seats 7 adults with no headroom issues. And one of those people is 6 foot 4 inches tall. We did a lot of driving and sleeping in the Model X, and now we can safely say that the only thing we get rid of our Model S for is one of these. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today we're lucky enough to be test driving a Tesla Model X 90D. We picked this up from a company called 3FEV who are based in Reigate. Really brilliant company. We've been sort of contacting a guy called Sean who's been extremely helpful, so if any of you want to have a look at hiring any different types of Teslas, then James is just showing you the card, isn't he? Yeah, that's their card there.
Also, if you remember our Scotland road trip before we bought our Tesla, we used the P85D. That was from 3FEV.
It was. We had that for a week.
We did. That was an amazing experience.
And that's what got James. That's what managed. I can't speak.
I think that was the deciding factor on whether we had a Tesla or not. And
yes, it was.
She crumbled.
I did crumble. I crumbled on the way back to Reigate.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Oh.
Crocodile teeth. So I've driven it back this morning from Reigate, and I have to say it was a very, very comfortable ride, very enjoyable. Haven't really got too much bad to say about this car, to be honest, and I think we were both a little bit apprehensive because we love our Model S, like really love it, and we were a bit like, oh, we're not sure. We were almost prepared a little bit to find lots of faults with it, and actually we've grown to really like it over the few hours that we've had it. It's solid, it's properly solid. You feel really protected and safe in it, don't you?
You do. Even with the massive, gargantuous, humongous, phenomenal size windscreen, which for me, the top of the windscreen where the roof starts and the windscreen stops is almost like a protection bubble, and you haven't got that here, and it took a little bit of getting used to, but I'm over it. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm
it didn't take long.
And another thing, they've got just the right amount of shade on it to stop you baking. The sun's been out today, it's been nice, and so far we haven't melted, and we've not had the aircon on. It was 16 degrees on the way back from Reigate, so far everything's groovy. A point I want to get out there now is I don't like the rear doors, and this is completely personal preference, but when I first saw them I imagined the scene where somebody went to Elon Musk and said, hey Elon, what do you think of these doors? And Elon said, they're great, let's have them. And I looked and thought, first of all, they look like they're going to be a pain in the arse, and secondly, they just look a bit too show-offy for me.
They are show-offy. I'd be embarrassed by them, if I'm honest.
I've changed my mind.
Oh no.
I have, genuinely. And I think it's because I've used them a few times and I've got in and out of the back. Kate's been in and out of the back, and I'm completely sold on them. Been doing a bit of filming in a car park where there was no people, and somehow out of nowhere, probably a hedge, a family of people came out and looked at the car, and the young lad was just blown away by it. He was like, "We really like your car." So they are pretty spectacular. Space age, a little bit out there.
They're accessible. I suppose
They are.
if you've got a grandma or somebody who needs to get into the back of the car and
A grandma
yeah, like an old person
or somebody tall.
or somebody tall. I'm just thinking about somebody who might have restricted mobility, or or if you've got a child and you're wanting to put a car seat in and out the car, for instance, then yeah, I can see why they might come in useful. But personally, okay, they're better than I thought they would be, but I still would not choose to have them. I wouldn't.
Over what? You'd have normal doors.
I'd have normal doors, because the doors on this car are fantastic. You press the button on the handle on the side of the door and the doors open, and you can shut them via the computer in the car, and I'd be happy just having those.
Now you see, that's the thing. I would be happy to not have those. I'm happy to just open the door.
Yeah.
Which is a bit alien for Tesla now, isn't it? You can't just open the door. It's got to open for you. But I like the doors on the S, and I'd have them on the back of this if they're available. But I would have one of these with them doors on the back.
If it was a compromise we had to make to have one of these cars, then I am fairly sold, I've got to say. It's lovely. It's so nice, and it's a lot bigger. Well, I say a lot bigger, it's quite a bit bigger than the Model S. But when you're driving it, it doesn't feel
No, it doesn't.
humongous. And actually, the drive of it is really, really good. It's smooth, you feel planted, you feel close to the road.
And it's rapid as well. It does go.
Rapid, yeah.
I was unfortunate enough the other day to have to drive a BMW X5M, which I didn't enjoy at all. It was noisy. The acceleration just wasn't that fast, and apart from that, it puts out enough particulates a second to kill at least 5 small kids. So this is 100 times better than any BMW X5, I think.
It's so quiet.
It is. They must have put so much refinement into this car for the sound deadening to minimise the noise, because it's got 20-inch rims on it, and I'm sure they're 245s or 275s. They're
massive.
humongous. They make a massive amounts of noise, regardless of what car they're on. The heavier the car, the more noise, and you don't hear it.
All you can hear is the slight whine of the electric motor.
Or you can hear the gravel when you drive off the road.
Or the gravel when you drive off the road. But to avoid a car, just like to point out. But the whine is the electric motor, but it's hardly anything, and I think it's only because we know what we're listening to or for that we can hear it.
Yeah.
And it's so relaxing to drive. I mean, being a passenger in it, you could fall asleep. And leading on from that point, actually, these seats, these are the most comfortable seats that I've ever sat in any car, ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
They're amazing. I sat in the passenger seat for a length of time, and I had no discomfort whatsoever. It holds you in a really good, in my profession, what we call a right angle position, where your hips are at right angles and you're comfortable. The other good thing about the seats, not that I'm banging on about seats, is that they are heated and ventilated.
You are going on about the seats.
I am a little bit, but I'm quite excited about the car and the seats. And in the Tesla Model S, it's got heated seats, which I have to say have been a godsend in the winter. I use the car all day, every day for work, and they've kept me warm. They're more effective than using the climate control. But one thing I will say about them is that they actually get too hot, and very, very quickly. And you end up turning them down, and then all of a sudden you're really hot, and then you just have to fiddle with them all the time.
Possibly, let me interject there. I think that might be because they're ventilated, the heat can get through a little bit quicker.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that might be the reason. But that's not a bad thing. If you want hot seats, you want hot seats. You just turn it down a little bit, don't you?
But on this car, you've also got the option of cool air. So when we tried it on the way up, in fact James has got his on now because he's hot. Oh, I've got mine on apparently.
Thank you very much.
He is hot. But they blow cool air, and you can really feel it, and it feels nice. I think on a hot summer's day,
They actually work.
they'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
We haven't got the climate control on at the moment, and to be honest, I don't think you'd need it as much with the option of
No.
using those ventilated seats. Bear with. Am I going to miss that curve?
Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you.
I like your style.
Thank you very much. So yeah, so I don't think you'd need to even use the climate control as much if you've got the option of using the heated or ventilated seats. I think those two options keep you nice and comfortable. So that is the end of my seat excitement.
A couple of things Tesla have done. Climate control in the back, which is good. On a Model S, if you put two people in the rear seats, two kids, the screen mists up at the back, I found, and that's because the circulation is not as effective at the back as it is at the front, because the HVAC system's behind the dashboard here. So you've got it in the B pillar here, and you've got it in the C pillar just at the back there, which is absolutely fantastic. So it keeps good air circulation.
It does.
The adjustable seat belts now, so you can adjust the reach of the seat belt as it comes over your shoulder, which is good for tall people from Holland especially. We've also noticed that the efficiency, we were definitely sceptical about the efficiency this car would run at, simply because from being on the forums and speaking to other Model X drivers, that they're saying that some people are getting high 300s, low 400s, and even high 400s. I'm sure that the rims that some of these guys run, that some of them run 21, so you're going to get less efficiency. But this car is averaging now 344, and we're driving around backcountry lanes, but on the motorway it was averaging 325.
Yeah, it wasn't much different.
Something like that. Yeah, easily 240 miles from a tank. Easily 240 miles from a charge,
Yeah.
and that was at motorway miles 75, 80 on the way back. You were driving,
Yeah,
weren't
we
you?
were just driving normal speeds.
I watched the fully charged episode the other day of the Model X, and something Robert picked up on there was the regen. It's almost like the regen's been curved off a little bit, and he's spot on. As soon as we got in it, we realised that the regen on the S is very sharp. It's instantaneous and it's in, which I'm used to. I quite like.
Yeah.
On the X, they seem to have just softened that a little bit, which actually is nice as well. There's not a lot between them.
It's just a different driving style.
Yeah, it is.
I think
It is.
you use the regen on the X probably slightly less than you would on the Model S for braking, but or you just have to be prepared to take your foot off a bit earlier. But it's no big deal, is it?
No. There's another really big point about the Model X, and that is the handling. It's better than the Model S. I think so. I got in it, and when I drove it, I couldn't believe how attached to the road I felt. It was unbelievable, and I really chucked it into some corners, and not for 1 second did I think, I'm not sure about that. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Did you want to
bloody seatbelts?
Did you want to do some calls?
Yeah. I've threw it through some corners, and I was full of confidence with it. I think partly because of the size of the tyres, they're huge, and partly because of the size of the battery and the low centre of gravity. It really has got ample amounts of stability. It's not something I can get across in the video. You really do need to drive one yourself to appreciate it fully. I think it's the fastest 4x4 out there.
It's so quick. It is quick.
It drives better than any 4x4 I've ever driven.
We don't think
does.
it's as fast as the P85 Dewey that we had.
No, I think the 85's just
Picked
got,
it.
yeah, it's got that. Well, this is 4 seconds to 60. I think the P85 was 3.2. But this is no slouch.
No, it is rapid.
Yeah.
For the size of car, it's fast. It's really fast, and there's no delay like with all electric cars. You've just got that instant power that you have with any electric motor. It's brilliant.
You love it. Could you go back to having a petrol or a diesel?
No.
Ever?
No. I don't think I'd ever want to now. I think because they're getting so good, aren't they? There's no need to.
So now I drove a Volkswagen Passat, 2017 Passat the other day, and that was a diesel. And it was nice. DSG. It was nice.
Diesel.
Yeah, it was nice. It was the engine's a little bit loud, but it was nice.
I'm not
gotta
saying
say.
all electric cars are bad. Electric cars. I'm not saying all internal combustion engine cars are bad. I just think that now the options are there for electric cars.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't want to go back, but everyone's different.
Yeah. Good morning. This is day 2 with the Tesla Model X, and unfortunately we're taking it back to Reigate this morning. We've had it for 2 days. We, between us, have got one real gripe with the car, maybe two. The first one being the rear view mirror. I've got to say, I don't know why it's got a rear view mirror. I think because it's got a rear view camera, you don't really need the mirror, but the mirror is more of a distraction. You can't see anything past the seats really, and with the privacy glass that comes with the car, rear view visibility it's not a lot. You can't see a lot. But you've got massive side mirrors that you can use, and obviously the camera again. The other thing is the autopilot. The autopilot has been good. I know it uses different software and hardware to what's fitted to our Tesla, and it's not quite up to scratch at the moment for what I would expect on this car, if I'm honest. The thing is, it's continually being rolled out and getting better and better, but I'm a little bit surprised that Tesla as a company, who are a very techie company as well, would allow this system onto a car newer than ours, and what I consider at the moment to be a bit substandard, I've got to say. And it is, and through a few conversations and texts and emails, some people are a bit frustrated by it, but Tesla did say it's going to be a slow progression. You're not going to get it in 5 minutes, and ultimately the system will be better than Autopilot 1, and it will be fully autonomous at some point. So, but still, I think that's about it. That's about all we can drag up from this car. If you had 80 grand spare, and you could have a Merc ML or an X5, X3, Touran Q7 or Q5, something like that, or this, what would you have?
I'd have this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a bit electric friendly anyway, and I think that sort of swings it a little bit. But even before,
Electric friendly. Electric bias.
But even before we had any electric cars, I think if I'd seen them lined up, this would definitely be up there. It's a lovely car.
Yeah. It is. I'm still amazed that Tesla have got a car this size to drive this well, and it drives better than our Model S, and it does. And of course, it pains me a little bit to say that, because I thought our Model S was the best Model S of all the Model S's out there. Nobody else's Model S drove like ours does, and actually this one does.
This is a Model X.
This is a Model X, so very biased towards our Model S, but this has been a fantastic experience, and that's not from a fanboy or fangirl angle. It genuinely does drive that well. Another point to add is, as this car does run on internal combustion, first of all you've got your fuel savings, which are huge. We drove from Reigate back to Hinckley yesterday. Grand total in this car, £3.20. If this was a BMW X5 or another 4x4, it must be 15 quid. It must be 15 quid on the most efficient.
I think more.
You haven't got the servicing costs. And I know a lot of Tesla owners, quite frankly, just aren't going to get their Tesla serviced. The guys on PCP contracts, which is us, obviously will. But there's nothing to service effectively apart from just the running gear. The problems with internal combustion in the form of diesels especially are just horrendous. The DPF problems. And a lot of these cars are used for short, sharp journeys, school runs and things like that. Robert Llewellyn's Fully Charged summed it up. Got a local family, chucked all the kids in it, drove it to school. You try and do a journey like that on a regular basis in a modern day diesel, you will have DPF problems after, I'm going to say, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Then you got to chuck your AdBlue in it as well, which people aren't really being informed about these days. So you've got AdBlue to chuck in it, you've got AdBlue problems, DPF problems, injector problems, rail pressure sensor problems, a lot of problems, and that other problem of you bloody stink when you filled the car up with £100 worth of diesel. I'm not going to rant on about it anymore.
I don't miss that, I have to say. I still don't miss that.
No, me neither.
Petrol stations.
Anyway, I've got to say it's a thumbs up from us. Oh, I just autopilot this, can't I? Just try this out. There's some good news. A car that we've been trying to get hold of for a long time. Finally, somebody came up trumps. Just out of the blue. That's another review that's come in, and that'll be probably a week away. But I'm quite excited about this one. A cracking car that we cannot wait to drive. So really looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.